All right, test one, two, three. Trying to make sure that everything is working. All right, Alex, can you say a couple of words?
Hey there, how's it going, man? Can you hear me? Test, test, test. Check. Test. 1, 2, test. You good? How are we sounding?
Alex, can you say a couple of words? Hey there, how's it going, man? Cool, it's working.
Test, test, test.
So there's a really long YouTube lag, it looks like, on this thing. So let me mute this other guy over here. Nice. So this is
I
actually.
didn't know Zoom could do this, dude. Obviously Zoom is like pretty legit, but I didn't know that.
What was that?
I know like Zoom is pretty legit, but I didn't know it was like you can just like run shit live on YouTube.
Yeah, it actually works really well.
It's a lot better.
Yeah, it's crazy. Phil Hines says, "Hey fellas," Phil Hines from FB. I'm guessing he's saying Facebook. I don't know. I think that's what he means, but yeah, we're going live. We got about 1 minute before we go. We wanted to play some music today, but as some of you know, with YouTube, there's always a restriction with any music that's already been released and published. So we're not going to be able to do that. But welcome to the chat, NECHB. Today we got Alex Gonzalez from Matt Black, and I'll be your host today, John Kunkel from the New Division. Yeah, we're just going to be chatting today. This is going to be a pretty low key kind of thing. We're just hanging out. And yeah, like I said, I wish we had some music to play for you guys, but we're just going to be delivering some good conversations to your ears, hopefully. So, Alex, how are you doing?
Doing good, man. It's actually been a while, man. I haven't seen you since probably like October or something.
I know, it was like right around like for your birthday.
Yeah, it was for a birthday and slash kind of baby shower thing that I had
It was like
for Maddie.
Yeah, it was like two things at once. That's crazy.
Yeah.
How's San Diego treating you?
Dude, can't complain, man. I live in North Park, kind of the heart of SD, and I can walk to the nearest bars, walk to the nearest restaurant. It's pretty nice and chill, especially with having my newborn and stuff. And it's kind of weird that actually that both of us have kids, and they're right close to age. And yeah, man, it's pretty exciting stuff. How about you, dude?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been good. It's been rough, I mean, not being able to hang out, not being able to do shows, practice, do anything. I mean, it's definitely been a rough year. If you count the fact that, we both had kids at that time, and I feel that having a baby at this time was kind of like maybe a blessing in a way, because you don't have that FOMO of all your friends going out, getting to do cool stuff. But then at the same time, you're stuck at home taking care of this baby. And I mean, this isn't your first time having a kid. So like, how's this experience been compared to the last time when you had a kid?
Dude, I was 23, man. I was freaking 23 when I had Zoe. And, looking back at it now, it's kind of a blur, even though I always consider myself to be a pretty present father. And, I've never missed an award show or, recital or anything like that. But the way I think about it now, she's 13. She's going to be 14 this year, going to high school. You freaking kidding me? It's just
That's crazy.
I don't know, man. I was just so young and scared. And now that I think about it, I just don't think I was able to absorb it. So with Maddie, it's a completely different situation, because now I can just sit there and look at him and be like, wow, dude, you were in my balls.
That's a really
I'm kidding.
good way to put
I'm
it.
kidding. I'm kidding, man. No, man, it's just beautiful, man. It's just beautiful. It's a wonderful thing to be going through, especially with Emily. We've had such a long history, 10 years together. I mean, since I've known you, I've been with Emily, and It's just an amazing thing to be able to do something like that with someone you love and care about and consider to be family. It's a complete different situation. I think it's very, very, very different for sure, man.
So how's it been like for you? Obviously, you started Matt Black with your, guys that were actually in the new division, including yourself as our drummer, Danny and Biddy. And was the idea to create Matt Black something that you guys did before the pandemic? Did it happen during the pandemic? I mean, the whole year is such a blur that I don't even know when all of this stuff came about. But like, tell me a little bit about that process. Like, what was that like?
Dude, I've had Matt Black demos probably as far as back as 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of started messing around with that style and that sound. So I had like 3 or 4 songs that actually ended up being in the album that were already there. And I think they came about from, we were writing music for Julian K at the time. And I was trying to put myself into, making darker music and stuff. And yeah, I was just kind of singing over it, little crappy demos in the apartment. And I don't know, through hanging out, I think me, Biddy, and Danny talked one time, and he's like, "What the fuck, dude? Like, we always like the side guys at bands, why haven't we been in a band together, like our band?"
But you guys were in a band together at one point, right? Like maybe 15
Not
years
really,
ago?
man. Not really. It's always been someone's band. We've always been in some band together, either me playing drums or Danny doing this or Danny doing that. So yeah, we've been playing together for years, but we've never really sat down and created something together.
This was like the first
Danny,
time you guys actually were collaborating musically on your own project instead of being part of someone else's project.
yeah. So like, for example, Danny had Program back in the day, and that was kind of his band with Tanya, and they invited me to play drums, and I'd play like drums every once in a while. So it was always like kind of stuff like that. And I don't think the opportunity ever came about. And frankly, I don't know, man. I don't think we could have been in a band back then. I didn't have the skills to produce music like that, and let alone sing. And I think we had a lot of growing up to do in an individual basis. I think all of us kind of, I think we probably would have been at each other's neck or stuff like that in the past. But I think over the years, maybe it was just timing, dude. I think I had like a big revelation in the past 2 years when it came down to music and producing and writing my own stuff. And it took a long time for it to kind of be sort of okay, which is kind of where it's at now. It's taken me a lot of stages of crappiness, of crappy demos, I mean, you've been through all of it. You've helped me a lot. And, I think it's just a perfect moment. I think the pandemic hit. I had these songs and we're like, well, weren't we talking about this whole doing something together? Well, this is what we got so far. And I had already moved to San Diego, and Biddy was kind of around, and he was already like kind of inputting guitars and, oh, what if you like write, something like this, and start playing keys here and there. And then boom, we had 4 songs. I think Bear was the first one that was done. And then we had Pure. And then I said, screw it, let's just do it. And then we actually all collaborated into like what the concept is. Biddy came out with the name of Matt Black. A lot of the artwork and videography and the editing and all that stuff is, heavily done by Danny. I think it's just a collaboration of a lot of like details and stuff. So we created a Dropbox folder. Danny sent in like 4 demos. Biddy sent in like 3 demos. I already had music there, and then boom, it just happened. We put an Indiegogo campaign, and people liked the first song, Pure, and that was it, man. We kind of were able to raise some money to release the album that we released, and we kind of did it quickly, did it all in the pandemic. I think for a lot of people, the pandemic sucked, but for us, I think it was crucial. I think it was a necessary thing, and it worked to our advantage.
And you guys basically did everything without a label. So I mean, you're doing it at DIY. You're, you had some label offers, you had some opportunities, but what ultimately decided that we're just going to do this ourselves? What was that like?
Yeah, man, we rolled around with a shit ton of fucking labels, man, a lot of them. And at the end of the day, I mean, uh, there's always it's a lot. It's never in for the artist, never in the artist's favor to do it. And of course, we want the support. We want the support of a label and distribution and all that stuff. But when it came to B, we already had this concept. We already had the albums printed. We already had the vinyls and the masters, everything. So what the hell is a label gonna do for us besides, sure, you'll be in our label. You owe us 50% of everything now. It's like we already printed it, we already invested it, we already did it. So the label thing just didn't end up working out, man. It just wasn't. We talked to at least like 10 labels and reputable labels that this project could have been released under.
Yeah, I think the hardest part with labels is you first off don't really know what the actual experience is going to be with them, working with them. Secondly, you've worked really hard on this body of music that better than anyone what that took to create. And you're just kind of handing over this baby that you created. And it's at their mercies, right? I mean, they could even tell you, hey, in the next 3 years, this is your only album that you're going to release in that period of time. And so you could get stuck in a very tricky contractual thing. And if you're the kind of person who wants to keep on releasing music, what are you going to do in those 3 years? Well, they're probably going to want you to tour, or they're probably going to want you to do other stuff that you're probably not that interested in. I mean, I remember with one label, they were like, oh, we want you to do this EP, but only if you work with so-and-so and so-and-so. And I was like, well, I don't really have any interest in working with these artists, much less working on any side projects that were related to that label in order to kind of fill up the gaps between my record and whatever. And so it just always seemed like most of the deals that I was offered were just not in my favor. I just wanted to real quick in the comment sections, we got WM66 saying much love, John. Thank you. And then Lex Aok says, I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude. Thanks for the great tracks, Shallow Play, Starfield, Nocturnal. Nice. With love from Moscow, Russia. Yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully one day we'll get to play a show in Russia. But yeah, going back to the label conversation, there's always going to be people that have a really good experience with labels. And I've never met any of those people because they're usually like megastars, right? I mean, the people that we never really get to hang out and talk to. I mean, the names are generally speaking. I mean, even actually, if we're talking about big names, I mean, M83, for instance, you remember that last album they did called Junk?
Yeah.
So I personally hated that record and I thought it was horrific. And I later was reading an interview with the guy and he was talking about, which ironically his also name is Gonzalez. He was saying something like, this is the last record that I had to make for that record deal that he had. And so I think he just got all the worst songs that he had and just put them on an album.
No way, dude.
I mean, even the single, it was horrible. I mean, if you go from Saturdays Equals Youth to the record after that, which was Hurry Up, We're Still Dreaming or whatever, and then you go to that, it's like, what the hell happened in between that to Junk? And then I think it was because he was pissed off at his label or something. And he was like, well, this is the last record I'm doing with you guys. You get the worst one. Here you go. Like, I've already done all my great records. This is your last one with me. Here's all my worst songs. Boom. There you go.
I mean, dude, that's crazy. I mean, I can't imagine like just purposely like doing a crappy record just to spite a label, But I believe it.
I mean, it's happened. It's happened before. It's happened. I mean, I've heard stories like that. He
called it Junk.
I mean, you could have called it something like, I don't know, what's like an M83 title, like Circles in the Sky, or I don't know, just something artsy, and he called it Junk. Yeah. I mean, there had to have been some turmoil between him and the record execs. I just have to think that But anyways, all that to say that I think a lot of times when people are signed with these record labels, they get jaded or they get frustrated because, the record label kind of has you, you know, by a short string, right? They're telling you what you can
Mhm.
release, when you can release it, how the songs need to sound. If it's not good, then you don't get to put it out. You have to tour on these dates. You have to have marketing this way. And I think that more and more of us, I mean, I've always been DIY just because out of, that's just how I like to do it, or because I never got offered a deal or anything. But I'm not saying I've been approached by, Capitol Records or anything, but I've had a couple of offers here and there, but nothing to where I was like, oh yeah, I definitely want to go on board with this. But I think for a lot of artists, it's not really that appealing.
Yeah, it just wasn't. But I mean, obviously there's the deals. There's good deals out there for certain artists, and certain labels have great channels that they can approach, especially marketing wise, and they have a lot of power to connect it to the right streams and place you in good areas in Spotify, and they can spend $30,000-$40,000 on a digital marketing plan to really put you forward, and then make deals to put you on Coachella Fest and stuff. So there's definitely a lot of good labels out there, but like you said, man, it's kind of hard to.
Well, ironically, one of the labels that offered me a deal was like, oh, we'll be able to get you in Coachella if you sign with us. And I was like, well, I don't know if that's really worth it. That's 20 minutes
Find the whole
of
catalog.
20 minutes of fame amongst 200 artists, maybe on one day, at like 2 p.m. when no one's going to go and see you, when it's like super hot. Like, it's not worth it. I'm going to go back to the comments real quick. We got Annie CHB. I'm sure that the work you have done will be 100% full of talent and true art. I congratulate you, great musicians. In honor to see you, the New Division team never disappoints. It is a true work of art. Thank you. And then we have another comment from Oliver. Hey guys, I'm so glad to see you live. I have been listening to your music since 2015, and I have been listening to Sequence repeatedly lately. Hey, thank you so much. That's really cool. 2015. I mean, what were you doing in 2015? I mean, we were playing shows, and I don't even know where
we toured that year, right?
Yeah, where did we? That was like the Gemini year. So, where did we even go? I think we went up to. That might have been the year that we drove all the way up to Seattle, and then played some shows. And gosh, I mean, time. I mean, that's like 6 years ago. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, dude, that was a fun year. That tour, the Gemini tour.
Yeah, that whole tour was great. I wish I remembered it. I can barely remember what we did.
There's nothing more, dude. I would pay money, like I would physically save money and pay money just to be able to do T&D tours for like a week or so. Because I know that you don't feel the same way, but they're just so fun, dude. Like we're just laughing 24/7 from morning to night. It's just a big goof fest. It's so fun. I mean, it's by week one, you already want to die, right? And you want to go back home. But when you think about it now, you're just like, man, that was so fun. Considering like being stuck in the pandemic and all that, it's like, man, we took those times for granted, and they're so fun.
I think touring just always sounds so much more fun after you're done with it. Like when you're in the moment, it's hilarious and amazing, but the stories that come out of it are they'll last you for years, until you're old. I mean, we'll remember those stories like when we're on our deathbeds at like 95 or 80 or whatever, and be like, yeah, I remember that one time when Danny hit John with the bass and made his head bleed on stage. I mean, those are the stories that you're going to remember. You're not going to remember all the hours that you were bored in the van, or that you just wanted to go to bed in the hotel room at 2 a.m., but everyone else is like awake and keeping you up. I mean, you're thinking about like all the fun memories, right?
Oh yeah, but there's definitely some bad memories, like me being stuck in Blythe, Washington.
Oh man, no,
Blaine, Washington.
This is the stuff that people don't really know that goes on in between, touring and stuff. But
So I think we were probably just partied way too much one of the days. I don't know where we were. We might have been like in Portland or something.
It's definitely
Doug Fir,
Portland.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
Doug
Doug
Fir. I
Fir,
mean, Doug Fir. Doug Fir is always such a great venue, right? So
best
fun.
venue on the West Coast. Yeah.
But we, for some odd reason, decided to take extra time eating breakfast, extra time walking around, extra time. So we ended up being so late to actually go play in Canada. And I'm unsure whether I can go into Canada because, by the way, I broke the law about 11 years ago. Got a DUI.
Not a bad law, just a law.
Not a bad law. Just I was drinking. I was a dumb 20-year-old, and I got a DUI. But it happened such a long time ago. It's off my record. It was already off my record years ago. But apparently in Canada,
They take that seriously.
they take that shit seriously. So even
Real
if it's been 10
seriously.
years, even if you've been forgiven, if you've paid the price, if you've done it,
Expunged. They still got the record.
expunged, they still got the record, you're not going in. So anyways, the custom lady over there, she's like, look, sir, I don't care what the situation is. You're not coming in. And then I look at Danny and Danny Arbesis, and I hear the exact same thing happen right next to me. Sir, you're not going to go in. And this is already at nighttime. You're already late for the gig, right? You're already late to play that show. So you guys had to drop us off at the nearest town, which was Blaine, Washington.
Yeah.
Mind you, Blaine, Washington.
The border.
The border is just a street. It's just one street and that's it. So we could have gone a little further, man, but you found the one hotel. If people live there, that's not a hotel, man.
That was, I think, probably a halfway house with like a motel linked into it or something, because that place, I remember when I came back, I don't really remember doing anything when we got there as far as like what the accommodations were. I remember the accommodations when I got back and you guys looked like you had just gone through World War III or something, and you looked all disheveled, and the showers weren't working. There was like no drinkable water in that area or something. I don't know what's going on. It was like something out of, it just looked so dystopian, and that one.
Yeah. Honestly, they paint these amazing scenes in freaking movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Psycho.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah. There's a reason why that exists. It's because these places really do exist.
Blaine, Washington.
Blaine, Washington. We walk in this little motel, whatever thing, and there's literally a little bell, ding, 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 and this guy in a wheelchair, in a wife beater, rolls up. Right, he rolls up and he's like, and apparently the guy lives there, and you can see the couch and his wife like in the background. And he's like, sure, you guys can stay here. And he grabs a little key, and literally like the key with a number on it.
Yeah.
Here you go. And me and Danny go upstairs. There's people living there. There's freaking, they're just sitting outside smoking. Their kids are running around. I'm like, oh my God, what is this, man? Well, anyways, it was so rough, dude. It was so rough.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. And you didn't even hear, well, you probably did hear this, but when we finally did get to the other side, when we got to Vancouver to play our show, it was just me, Siraj, and Biddy. I don't think anyone else was able to make it. And when we got over there, first off, we were about 40 minutes late to our set. So the promoter was really mad at us. And most of the people had already left at this point. But we were like, you know what? We're going to play this show to a room of like 10 or 15 people, right? I mean, this is like almost 1 a.m. And we had just driven from Blaine to Vancouver, and that took us like an hour and a half or something. We get there and there was nowhere to park because the venue is in this one part of Vancouver that is just right in downtown. So there's nowhere to park. I had to go and drop off the gear with Siraj and Biddy. So they were carrying all the gear out. And then I had to go in and park somewhere else. But when I parked, I don't know what I was thinking or what happened, but I somehow forgot my shoes, and I couldn't find them. That's what it was. I couldn't find my shoes because, like touring vans, there's just all this trash and junk everywhere. And It's just super hard to find everything. And I was like, you know what? I can't find my shoes. I'm already 45 minutes late. I just got to go in there and just do this set. So I'm walking barefoot in the streets of rainy ass Vancouver at like 1 a.m, hoping I'm not going to step on a needle or something. And then I get there and Siraj is like, where the hell are your shoes at? And I was like, I can't find my shoes. I'm just going to have to play this show barefoot. And, you know, I'm all wet because it was raining outside. And I'm like, I hope I don't get electrocuted or something, you know, like from grabbing a microphone and then have like one of those stories. And yeah, it was just a horrible experience. But at the same time, it was such an amazing like story and moment that happened that I'll never forget it. But I mean, you know, to you, like, what was like one of the worst, what's like your worst memory of touring that you can think of, like the most disastrous thing that ever happened? I mean, I feel like Blaine is pretty much up there, but
Blaine is pretty up there. I think because we hadn't really seen them well. At that time, there really isn't anything around, so it's not like you can go to a Jack in a Box.
Yeah, newsflash, you don't eat at all on tour very well. If anything, you probably eat the worst food of your life.
The worst.
7-Elevens and stuff all day.
Yeah, I hadn't showered, right? So I just looked grimy, dude. And Danny decides to take the honor of showering first. And I don't know who does this. I don't do this, but he likes to pee in the shower.
Yeah.
So starts urinating in the shower, and then realizes the shower's clogged. So now you have a nice 4 inches of water with Danny's filth and urine.
Which, by the way, that water probably wasn't even clean either. So.
Right. So he comes out and he's like, "Hey man, I'm sorry, dude. I peed in the shower and it won't go down." I'm like, "Well, looks like I'm not showering for whenever you guys get back." And you guys didn't get back till like, I don't know, man. It seemed like forever.
Well, we were taking we were gone for what felt like 2 days. We probably went to like a museum and stuff, and you know, just like lived up that nice Canadian life for a day or two.
Yeah. So yeah, I suffered there, man. But no, man, there's so many great stories. But I feel like when you go on tour, man, that happens because Doug Fir was such a big high. Doug Fir is the best venue. They treat us well. There's food, the best drinks, the best everything. The crowd was great. The venue, the sound guy, right? There's no Jeff there.
Yeah, no, there's no Jeff sound guy.
There's no Jeff. There's a guy with an iPad, and he gives you everything you want. He's like, "Oh, you want a little more bass on your? Oh, here you go. How's that sound? You want to feel the kick a little more? Here you go."
I think the worst place that we ever stayed at, in my humble opinion, is that one place in El Paso. I'll never forget that hotel. And it was the same hotel where Siraj, our manager, was taking a shower. And at the same time that he was taking a shower, there was these guys outside of our room that were just banging on pipes, like these construction workers or janitors or whatever. And they're just banging these pipes in the hallways. And they have this giant trash can to, I guess, catch the water that was eventually going to spill out from these pipes. And I got to see this because I didn't know Siraj was taking a shower. I was like hanging outside with you guys. I think we were coming back from like the pool, and that there was like a little jacuzzi or something in that hotel. If you remember, it was horrific. And I see this gush of water coming out in the hallway, and it's like going to this trash can. It's all black and green or whatever. Ooh. And then I was like, oh, whatever, you know, I didn't think much of it. So I go back into the room, and Siraj is sitting on the bed with a towel, and he's covered in all this black gunk or something. I don't know what it was. Just for a little bit of a frame of reference, he's really OCD about cleanliness. And so this his ultimate nightmare. And he was just like covered from head to toe in whatever was coming out of those pipes at this like horrible truck. It was like a trucker hotel, honestly. You know, and the thing people don't realize is that a lot of times what we used to do in the past is back then we would actually book stuff in advance, which we learned pretty quickly that's not always the best way. it's better to get to a town first and kind of scope the area and figure out where you want to stay instead of going somewhere that you've never been before and booking the cheapest hotel on Priceline or whatever. But that's what we did at this point. We booked this hotel on Priceline, got there, realized it's like a trucker stop with the most bizarre people in the world. Straight up like Hills Have Eyes kind of, people walking around. And that to me was I think it was like the start of the tour too. It was like the second or third show. And I was like, nah.
Dude, but like I think for me that the irony behind it, because Siraj, our manager, is so OCD, man. Like weird OCD. Like I see him walk out of places and he doesn't touch door handle, stuff like that. So just the image of him being in the shower, and he gargled the water, but he was gargling the water before he actually opened his eyes to notice the color that was coming out of the water. And he kind of likes to self-sabotage too. So he just stayed in a towel. He just sat in the hotel room and just sulked for days, dude.
He didn't have any recourse. I mean, he's like, well, I don't know where else I'm going to shower because all the pipes probably have this same water. I guess I could, maybe he thought like, oh, maybe I can jump in the pool. I think I even told him like, just go in the pool and wash off, It's not like it's probably cleaner than what you just went through. But I mean, yeah, those are the types of stories and things that happen on tour that just doesn't really get a lot of attention later because, like, what are you going to do? Like, hey, what's up, Portland? You want to hear about my shitty hotel that I stayed at last night? I mean, no one really cares to hear that, So, I mean, it's, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in between that, just goes into it. But let me go back to the comments real quick.
Yeah.
James says peeing in the shower saves water. Okay. Yeah, that's actually very true. Oliver says I pee in the shower too, but I can also understand it's very problematic if the shower is clogged. Redmus says I have to pause since I'm still at work, but digging this convo. I paid to see Empathy Test online. So maybe do a live show and charge. Julian K did that too. That show rocked. Yeah, well, eventually, I don't know. I'm not really into like the whole playing live on YouTube. I'd rather just play a live show. I don't even have a place where we could even do it at. Like, what, we're gonna like play a live show in my garage and stream it on my webcam? Like, it just sounds ridiculous. But things are opening up again, so we might be able to play a show in a city near you. And yeah, if you guys have any more questions for us, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll try to answer them as we go. But yeah, shifting gears a little bit, with this new project that you have, Matt Block and everything, how has it been in terms of how people have received the music? How do you feel? Are there any gripes that you have with the way that things have been rolled out, or what's been your experience, I guess, from your perspective in terms of creating a completely new project, going from 0 to 100 as far as like just launching all this stuff? Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, I'm kind of like right now I'm actually going to like marketing school and stuff, and I weirdly kind of like the templates of marketing, they have like certain pillars that you have to have in order to make something work, and you have to find your audience, and you need to target that audience, and you need to kind of find where you sit and what people are wanting or whatnot. But I feel that we accidentally hit those marks.
Yeah.
We had the visual, the kind of like the look, the album, the all the collaborations we had in place. Like, for example, the artist, I'm drawing a blank right now, Acid Thermal from Spain. Those visuals that you're seeing on some of our visualizers are a key, point to the experience of the music. And he's just an amazing raw talent that of art. And we just kind of lucked out in a lot of those ways that we just kind of Biddy is just such a, I don't know how he does it. I don't know where he learned it or what, but he just has this great intuition about how to communicate with people and how to create excitement over something. And it was his idea to do an Indiegogo campaign. I don't know how to do it. He did it. He's like, hey, well, we're gonna do this.
You guys raised a lot of money really fast.
We're gonna do vinyl. You gotta go live. He's like, you gotta go live before you launch. And I'm like, I don't know how he knows this stuff, but he has a way.
He's a promoter, right? So I mean, he would know.
Well, I mean, some people pretend to be promoters, right? And you just don't know that if it's gonna do. So I'm just kind of rolling with the punches. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, dude. Yeah, we'll do a live stream and we'll do this and boom, like we raised $5,000.
Yeah.
And people want this merch and people want these packages that we presented. And
now, could a label done that for you? Probably not.
No. And at end result, I mean, we ended up, our mark was $5,000. We actually ended up raising $9,000. After the fact, we've sold a lot of records. We're almost out of our vinyl. Even the other day, like he, dropped the price by 20%. We got tons of sales again. So, but it's also our target audience, man. We wanted to make dark electronic music that had a modern vibe to it, with a little throwback on a few songs that have that, 90s, 80s aesthetic. But most of all, we're kind of focused on more of a kind of a dark electro type of vibe with, the stuff I do with the vocals and shit. Yeah. And then it was post-punk decided to feature us, Commuting After Dark, all these channels that have, great reputation, decided to embrace what we're doing, man. And I just can't believe it. Honestly, when I first started releasing the songs, I'm like, dude, no one's going to fucking like this. No one's going to like the way I sing with like this like dark wave sound, and people either like techno or they like this or they like that, but it's just weird that we actually got I don't know, that it's moved along and we're raising fans every day and people keep adding us every day. The streams are growing.
Speaking of fans, do you have any fan horror stories?
Yeah, dude, but I'd rather not.
You don't have any that you can talk about, huh?
Yeah, no.
How about this? Yeah, what is there anything that you find that sometimes you feel frustrated at with fans or anything that they might do, or maybe something that you love that they do?
Yeah, I mean, I got a message the other day that a fan wants to tattoo the skull of our album. And I love that people reach out all the time, man. I love that, there's people that reach out all the time and they say, your music helped me through this. And, or they just want to connect and want to say hello, or want to remix us and reach out about, or radio stations asking to, send demos and do a quick little interview thing. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm just kind of grateful that it's all happened, but, luckily with, playing with you and playing with Julian K and Moving Unit, I've kind of, developed a way to kind of interact with the fans and making sure that, you take good care of them and treat them with respect.
So you're being nice, yeah, but I'll go to someone in the comments is saying, tell us a horror story. Well, I wouldn't say this is much of a horror story, but do you remember that show we played in Houston where, Siraj, like he backed, he had the van and he was reversing and like your drum throne was under it and then it got stuck under the van.
Yeah.
You remember that show?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you remember that one guy, but I don't know if he was even a fan. I think it was just like some drunk guy, but he walks up to us and it's like, hey man, I really loved how you guys played. Like you guys should come on tour with me. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, man, I'm going to take you guys on tour with me and you guys can be on my tour bus and everything, but you can't take a shit on my bus. And I was like, what? And the thing that really made me angry is that there was all these other fans that were coming up and trying to take pictures with us and hang out. And this guy kept on coming up and he was like, hey man, I need to talk to you. I'm like, hey man, just give me a second. There's some other people that want to take pictures. And, we try to talk to everyone as much as we can at every show. Cause we drove all the way out there to see them. And that's the whole point, right? It's connecting, being able to have like a good conversation. with the people that really love your music, and be able to just hang out. And this guy just kept on coming up and constantly, and then he just said the weirdest thing. Who says that, right? Hey man, you like, first off, we don't even know what band you're in or what your music is. It was like some kind of like weird metal band or something. And he's like, you guys should come on tour with me, but just don't shit in my bus, my tour bus. And I was like, don't worry about that, because it's probably not going to happen.
Well, I actually do have one I can talk to, because I blocked that fucker. Yeah, dude, this guy was honestly, I don't know what's gone on with his life, but he strikes me as a person that would hurt someone or would hurt us. Yeah. There was this fan in Wichita, from Wichita,
Kansas.
The guy came, Kansas. Yeah. This is a Julian K. And Amir comes up to me and he's like, hey man, just be careful with that guy. And I was like, oh, I don't know what's so wrong with this kid, But then throughout the night, he was just next to me the entire freaking time. And I remember when we're like, people are peeling off the instruments from us, he stands up and he's like, oh yeah, I'm here standing where Amir stands. And Ryan, I never thought this would happen. Okay. And he like gets off stage, and then he starts asking my age. He starts asking all these weird ass questions, dude. But then afterwards, the dude starts sending me videos of him singing. And he'd like be rolling around like some Silence of the Lambs shit, dude. Like he's like I could see like the background of his room, dude. It looked like just like garbage everywhere and stuff. And he was singing that New Order song, Orgy did that cover.
Yeah, Blue Monday.
Yeah, he's like, how does it feel, Alex?
Oh, he's dropping
me like you do.
So he's dropping your name in the song while he's singing Blue Monday.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And then he sent me another one. He's like, I'm gonna sing you a song. Yeah. I'm gonna sing you a song. Yeah. Alex. Dude, I have these videos. And honestly, he is so creepy up to the point that I kind of want to release them, dude. Like, because they're pretty out there, man. So I ended up having to block them. Remember that guy Colin? Was his name Colin? What was his name?
I don't know.
There was a fan, dude. He was just like, I don't know.
Oh, Connor,
dude.
Connor, yeah. Well, he was that guy. I mean, he literally went to everyone on Facebook and would just demand that you would send him unreleased songs, which is really rude, by the way. Don't ever request an unreleased song by an artist that you like, just because, we take our music very seriously and we're very meticulous about getting it to a state where we want to share it with people. So pro tip, don't ever ask a band that you like for an unreleased song unless you're like part of their band or you're like their producer. Otherwise, just don't do that. It's really rude. But anyways, this guy would go around and ask everyone in the synthwave community, because that's what he was really into, like, FM84, the Midnight. I think he even hit up Michael Oakley for stuff. And he was this guy who would just spam you all day and just be like, how's it going, mate? How's it going, mate? Got any more music for me? Got any more music for me? And he would just constantly spam you all day. And if you didn't respond, he'd be like, what's wrong, mate? Don't you like me? And then if you didn't reply, he started getting more and more aggressive. And then he would come back with like, you're the worst artist I've ever heard. You should go kill yourself. He would just start saying this really hateful stuff. And, he's doing this all separately, right? So no one in the artist community that's actually working on music knows about this. And then one day we're all talking to each other. And then we're all like, yeah, I have this guy today, like, named Connor, who is crazy, and he's sending me this message. And they're like, wait, Connor, that name? Yeah, that Connor. And it was the same exact person. I'm not going to give his name out, but it was that exact same person. And turns out, dude, I don't know if you ever saw the page, but there was like a Facebook group that was created that said, never add this Connor guy. And there was 50 or 100 different artists on that page, all like posting pictures of what he was saying to them in messages. And it was just really abusive stuff. And then I think there was even this one guy who was like, I almost had a mental breakdown because I was trying to be nice to this person, but
Yeah.
he's clearly like deranged.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, man. So to your point, I think there could be some rough situations, dude. But for the most part, you know, we appreciate all our we have
99.999% of fans are incredible. But the thing is that fans never get to hear about the 0.1% that are crazy. And I think it's interesting for people to hear about that because it's almost like having a stalker or someone. And the thing is that sometimes these people don't even really care about your music. They just kind of want to just mess with you. I don't think they even really care about the, and like, I think even that one guy was like, oh, I want to write your lyrics for you. And I was like, well, why would I need you to do that? Am I supposed to split my royalties with you now too? Or, it was just really, really funny. But
have you had a fan superimpose your face to their picture next to them?
No. I think I'm in the wrong genre of music for that to happen. I feel like if I was like,
I've had that where there's a fan that would superimpose my face next to hers. And
no, I've never had that happen.
Yeah, and it was similar to the Connor situation. You get multiple messages. Hey, you didn't like my story today. You didn't like my picture today. You didn't like my this.
Right. Because all of a sudden our lives have to make sure that we're liking all their stuff.
Right, and our fans buy our music, man, and they support us. And dude, I try to reply to everybody. I respond to 100% of pretty much everybody. And this person just took it to the next. This person just took it to the next level, where it's now I owe it to this person to like their stories and like their. And yes, mind you, the posts are related to me. There are hey, my groups and things like that. And hey, you didn't like my picture today. You didn't comment. Can you please like it? And this person had multiple pages too, so I had to like the post in those different pages too.
Yeah. I know.
Can you like it in my other profile too? And it was just dude, it was just nuts.
Well, the thing about that one specific person was that I think he did poetry, and he always wanted you to give him feedback on it. And I was like, I'm not a poet. It's like, well, you write lyrics. I'm like, yeah, but lyrics are a little different. And also I don't have time to review someone's poetry and give them feedback. I barely have time to eat lunch or, give my baby a bath or relax and just watch a Netflix show. That's not going to happen. But all that to say that there are a few people out there that are insane. And I think you're going to encounter that in any sort of industry. It doesn't matter if you're doing music, you could literally not have an audience of whatever and just have somebody on Facebook that just one day got deranged and they start saying you weird messages like that. And it's going to happen.
Yeah. And man, I know that you're like this. I know that you actually listen to people's demos. I know that you actually listen to their stuff and give them feedback. And I'm also the same way, man, because I truly believe in paying it forward. And I had a guy that I don't know at all the other day just send me a message in Instagram and say, hey man, can I remix it again? I'm like, sure. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, it might be good and it might not be good. But I still give that opportunity. And I listen to every single freaking demo that's ever been sent to me. And I know you do that as well. But if there's a fan that's abusive, man, it's literally abuse, dude.
Oh yeah, it's on the same level of of an abusive partner or a friend or someone who's just mentally trying to exhaust you, which I think is pretty funny. But I want to go back to the comments real quick. Cool. Zero Accountability says, hey, I just wanted to say that Rewind from Precision is one of my favorite songs from the last several years. Much love. Thank you. That was actually written by James Mays, and then I just put some lyrics to it, sung over it, and then I did a few production edits. Marcelo Seven says, it's kind of annoying that this crazy guys like Connor get to talk to you. Sometimes artists stop talking to fans because of people like that. Yeah, I still talk to fans no matter what. I'm not going to let someone like Connor make me feel jaded. Again, it's the 0.1% that this happens to. I would say the overwhelming majority of fans that I've talked to have been incredibly sweet, awesome, and amazing, and I'm happy to always chat with them. The other comment, Marcelo says, I felt really great when John noticed me in a comment. Haha, I love connecting with artists that make me feel a lot with their music. You're amazing still. Sending you support and love from Peru. Muchas gracias, Marcelo. Un abrazo muy grande.
Well, let's talk about you, man, for a little bit.
Yeah.
You released Hidden Memories.
Release Hidden Memories.
In my opinion, man, I think that record is just it's such a good record, man. It's just such a good record. I remember when I started hearing the early stages of it, and I just thought that it was such a different layer, a different kind of angle of where TND, it's still fitting within TND. Yeah, man, I thought that was a great album, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making it. It was definitely a different experience. And right now, I'm honestly not even trying to write albums. I'm just trying to focus on singles from now on, because I think the whole album thing is great, but I think in between Gemini to that one, it was like 5 years, and I released all these EPs in between and singles. But I'm just noticing so much more traction whenever I release a single, because of how the current music industry is sort of like geared towards, not a lot of people are listening to albums unless they're hardcore fans. And if you want to grow your fan base, I feel that releasing a full album right now is great as a debut record to kind of like get your name out there. But the amount of time it takes to write an album from start to finish and feel really happy about it and proud of it takes a lot more work. And then you can't really release those songs until the full album is done.
It's done. Yeah.
Because you don't know exactly like if something's going to change, or so I felt a lot more freedom in just being able to sort of write these singles and then releasing those about 6 to 8 weeks apart, and then just kind of seeing what people think about that, instead of having to worry about, do all these songs that I wrote fit together on an album? I can just write songs in silos of each other and not have to worry about, does this song connect with that one? And then just kind of seeing what the fans' reaction is, and I think doing that has been really satisfying for me, because I have a full-time job, you have a full-time job, we both have families. There's so much that goes into our creative energy that can get sucked dry whenever we go into a project and sit down and work on a song, and so I think I just don't have the bandwidth to think about a full album. I have the bandwidth to think about one song at a time and focus on it, but to think about a work as a whole is so much more harder than it was 5 years ago for me, because back then I wasn't married, I was working part-time. I had all the freedom in the world to do whatever I wanted to. And now I'm like, oh, I got about an hour and a half maybe to work on something. Am I going to go watch Netflix and chill, or am I going to work on this song? And so you start thinking about the limited amount of time that you have, and you start thinking, well, maybe I'll just work on one song at a time instead of like trying to create a bigger body of work. But the cool thing too is that I've learned I can start writing these songs individually, and then I can kind of see that there's something shaping that I could maybe release into an album, but I don't know what that looks like yet.
Right. No, I definitely agree with you, man, because I'm kind of sitting in that same situation right now, because we have such a shit ton of songs still that we could release right now. I have like a lot of great songs that I love and I want to release, but do we need to do another album? Do we need to do this? Do we need to package it again? And just to think of the amount of work that took to do that whole thing, man, it's exhausting.
Oh yeah,
actually, it feels like I feel like I just went through that. I feel like I just went through that, and just
it's exhausting.
To think of doing it again is just crazy. So I see what you mean, man.
You mean, but it's tiring.
But nevertheless, man, freaking Hidden Memories. I mean, if you're not going to release an album for a while, I think it's a pretty solid freaking album, man. So you should be pretty proud of that. It's sick. It's sick. Sounds great.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think there will be an album in the future. It's just not going to happen within a year. I think it's going to be, on top of that too, I'm also working on different projects. So it's kind of hard to juggle doing one alias with TND and then having a full-time job where I'm literally listening to music all day at my job, right? That's Splice is where I work at. So whenever I wake up until I'm done working that day, I've just been listening to samples and music all day, and your head starts kind of exploding with oversaturation. And by the time you want to do your own thing, you're like, I don't know what to make. I just heard so much great sound, so much great music. Where do I start? What do I pick? How do I make this next song? And you get overwhelmed. And you kind of get to this state where you just feel like, you know what? I'm just going to go for like a bike ride or a jog or something. And then you get home and you just want to have dinner and be with your family. And, maybe on the weekend I'll work on something, but it's not like the old days. It's not like the old days where I could just
it's funny
wake up from 9 to 5 and just make music for fun.
Yeah, because with the baby now, man. I mean, I don't know if this happens to you, but like you're be holding the baby and you kind of look over at the computer and you're like,
yeah,
I want to work. I kind of want to work on a track right now. I can't.
I mean,
and I can't. We got a family now, and you got to really organize your time accurately, or it's like, oh my god, the baby's asleep. I can like put 2 hours into like a track or something, and you just kind of, you gotta, it's tough times, man.
Ironically though, sometimes having that time constraint has helped me get some of my most exciting ideas recently for me. When I had so much time before, I would feel like, oh, I have so much time, but I don't have any inspiration. But when you feel constrained sometimes because you don't have time, you're going to go into I don't know what it is. Like my brain does that sometimes, but like this last week I was alone with Frankie, our daughter. And whenever she would take a nap, I had like an hour, maybe just to kind of go in and work on some stuff. And I came up with this really cool idea this week that I was really excited about. And, for the last month, I've been struggling to come up with a new idea that I was really excited about, something that I felt inspired by. And then this week, didn't have any time. Boom, the idea just came. And I was like, this is the next song. Yeah, this is it. I already know what I'm gonna do.
There it is. Yeah.
It's one of those it's one of those things that like when you do 15 or 20 minutes of work and you listen back to, you're like, oh yeah, that's the song right there.
Yeah.
But and that used to happen to me way back in the day when I had an office job, and I used to come home from working at Time for Change or whatever I was working at in San Bernardino. And I would work at the office all day, come home, be really tired, but then I'd get like a great idea at like 10 o'clock. And then, you would stay up for a couple of hours and then go back to work at like, you go to bed at like 1 a.m, then wake up at like 6 to go to work,
Ooh. So man, John Grant has been kicking ass lately, man. You've been on.
Yeah, it's been fun doing
so many. I mean, Armin van Buuren's been like spinning you guys' stuff. You've been with Above and Beyond, and that's huge stuff. Because I remember back in the day, I was like, back in 2011 or 2012, we were like super into. Well, we still am, but just to see that.
Well, COVID, you can't really play and go to shows anymore. So.
yeah, man, John Grant's kicking ass. So you're staying busy, dude. Staying busy.
Yeah, it's been busy. I've definitely I've been spending a lot more time on that project just because it's easier to get those. Well, it's not easier, but I can get more songs done. Don't have to sing. Don't have to write lyrics. Don't have to record a guitar. Don't have to do all this stuff. And so in a way, I gravitate towards that because I can just get it done faster in the sense that like I won't have to bust out my guitar, plug a cable in. I won't have to get my mic hooked up and then turn my preamp and then write lyrics and then sing into it. So I can just go in and just go directly, from my keyboard and controllers to my Ableton session and just, write those John Grant songs really fast. And, I love running. So, I mean, that's the kind of music that I like to write if I'm going to run to, you know what I mean? Which I never understood how people like work out at the gym listening to hip hop because the beat is so slow. I don't get how you would, maybe it's on the downbeat, so like they run to like the doom, 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 da. And maybe that's what they do, but like I need that like 128 BPM, to like keep my heart going. I don't know how people can run, because like 128 or 134, if you're running on the treadmill at like 6 to 8, you're gonna hit that BPM every time. Like every step is gonna go on the kick, doom, 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 doom. So it's fun to write that kind of stuff for that reason. But we got Ryan Cook saying, "What up, John Soft Cell? Hey, how you doing, Ryan? Good to see you in the chat. Thanks for tuning in." We got Matt Black saying, "Marica gang." Yeah. So yeah, the that whole side of music for me is just really exciting to write. It's just, to me, it's more of a hobby than anything. New Division is still my my baby, but the John Grant stuff is just fun to write.
It's new outlet.
It's just easier in one way, but harder in another. The mixing of that stuff is way harder, but the production of it is a lot easier.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, outside of music, you've been watching any good TV shows? Do you have any upcoming shows that you want to talk about? I mean, literally anything, really.
Dude, I'd like to play some freaking TND shows, man.
I would love to play some TND shows.
That'd be great. We're going to be in the orange. We are in the orange soon. Things are opening up. I think a lot of people are going to be vaccinated pretty soon. And
I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Matt Black. We're doing some shows for sure. We've been talking to. We might do a run with Moving Units in the fall. Should be some pretty big shows, and we're talking about doing Cross in San Diego. We might be doing the Casbah.
I guess Cloak and Dagger is closed for good now, huh?
Yeah.
No opportunities for that.
But dude, I'd love to go to do some TND shows. Hopefully, we can go to Germany again, and or Sweden or Mexico. Like I'd love to play some shows, even if it's just California, and just like
we're definitely in some talks to do. We're definitely in some talks to do some stuff with Europe again for sure, and the US tour stuff is always doable. I really want to go to South America personally. I want to go back to my roots. I want to go to Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina, Peru, Chile. The only problem is those countries, it's really hard to drive around, so you have to fly everywhere. That's the only thing. That's the only downside. But I'd love to go back to Mexico again too. I would love to play in Guadalajara again. I'd love to play in DF again. I mean, I think my favorite memories, even though we had a few technical problems during some of those shows, opening for Peter Hook, Peter Murphy, those are just some great memories right there, man. I mean, you're playing with these idols that you've looked up to your whole life as a teenager or whatever, and you're just, wow, like, how did this happen?
Yeah, I mean, we're having dinner
with Peter Hook
in the line. Yeah, and
crazy.
I think you can't make that up. You can't make a moment where when you're 15, someone told you that was possible. You wouldn't believe it, but it's really cool to have been able to do that, man. Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if I go back to myself when I was 14 or 15 and I told myself, hey, one day you'll get to open for so-and-so, I would have been like, nah, there's, I mean, even being able to play shows, where we've played, venues that we've played, places that we've played, is very humbling experience. And from the perspective of, we all, I think, came from non-privileged backgrounds, I would say, and just kind of got into these situations through either friends or management or whatever that just opened these doors, and we've had so many good experiences overseas. And I think that the future is still very bright, and I think that there's going to be a lot more opportunities for all that kind of stuff, and there's going to be more shows happening. I think once things reopen up again, there's going to be a world where we won't have to wear masks and worry about all the stuff that we've gone through the last year, just all the bullshit. But it's going to be, it's going to be super exciting to get back on the road, I think.
Yeah. No, I can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Well, we're pretty much at the hour right now. If anyone has any last questions, we're going to be closing this off. I don't want to keep this too long. I know we all got stuff to do, but we should definitely do this again at some point. And I think we're also hopefully going to be doing some live shows eventually for all you guys, so you guys can see. Just real quick, the reason why we did this is because we were trying to celebrate the release of the New Division remix of Matt Black's single Pure, which actually I don't know if it was a single. I think it might have been on the LP or something, right?
Yeah,
But
no, it was a single.
Gotcha. But yeah, if you haven't checked it out, please go to Matt Black's Facebook page, their Instagram, and make sure you go on their Spotify and click follow. Believe it or not, that really does help people whenever you click follow, because you'll get their newest releases on your release radar. Really important to do that. And yeah, be sure to check it out. I'm just going to read up the last few comments that we got on here. Someone from Russia, I'm assuming, because that looks like Krillic. Yo, love you guys. Vice's Copycat, your best creations. Thank you. Appreciate that. Ryan Cook, how many songs are going to be on the new TND record? Well, Ryan, you might have missed that, but I'm not really working on a record right now. I'm just kind of working on singles and just releasing music as we go. So no plans for a record right now, but it could happen in the future. Zero Accountability says, yes, San Diego. Ryan Cook says Chicago. And then Sound Is Me. I also listen to your stuff all day for work. How do you protect your ears? I've got crazy percussive tinnitus. I'm trying to keep from getting worse. Some days I'll just edit through the numbers on the comp. Well, the best way to avoid tinnitus is not to use headphones a lot. And also, if you drink and smoke with AirPods or headphones on, you're going to ruin your ears quicker. So if you do that, don't do that. Another way to protect it is to use monitors or speakers. You don't need an expensive set of headphones or monitors, but always try to do whatever you're doing at a very low volume, just so you protect your ears so that you don't end up becoming deaf. I'll probably be deaf one day in my 60s or 70s. I don't know. It might happen. I feel like with the amount of music I have to listen to every day, it might just happen to me. Alfredo says, so TND and Matt Black together on tour this fall. Yeah, I mean, it could totally happen. I don't know if it's going to happen in the fall. Like, I don't think there's going to be enough venues open up for like a tour. I mean, here's the other thing too, right? Like, what do you think? Do you think that all these venues are going to be like clogged up with shows because everyone's going to be like, gotta play, and then it's going to be up. There's going to be backlog.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I can actually tell you right now that, because I know a lot of promoters here in San Diego, and especially these venues. I mean, they're literally calling each other. Hey, are you taking this date? Are you taking this date? So all the promoters, everyone, they're already like taking space and pre-booking stuff for December. And believe it or not, man, I thought actually that people would be kind of freaked out and kind of be paranoid about the pandemic and all this stuff. But you'd be surprised, man. I think people are just going to go straight to it. No mask. No one's going to care. And it's going to be overnight, man. Because I'm already seeing it out here. People are walking around without masks and things like that. I was like, oh, it looks like everyone's forgotten what we just went through. But I think places are going to open, man. Definitely in the fall.
Well, the good thing is everyone's starting to get vaccinated out here in the States. It's not the case in Europe. Out there, they're about, I don't know, I think
20%.
We're going to be at a way higher percentage than they are in about 3 months. So it sucks if you want to go out there and play. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to be a situation out here in the States where it's not going to be like, oh, we'll start playing shows in the fall again or be able to even tour by then. It's going to take a while before we're actually able to get back on the road, just because all these dates are going to be booked, by either bigger bands or bands that are just already trying to get back on the road. Like, I'm not trying to get back on the road tomorrow, but there's some bands that are just like, hey, let's go, let's get this done. But Alfredo says any Inland Empire shows soon. No. To be honest, Alfredo, I'm not sure I'm playing the Inland Empire again anytime soon. I mean, I feel like I've kind of done my, what's the word? I've paid my dues in the Inland Empire, let's just say. And,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we've been out here, what, like 10, 12 years. And every time we play a show in the Inland Empire, it's just like no one comes out because most people want to go to an LA show, right? A lot of our fans are in LA. Inland Empire is kind of like a transient area, I guess. So a lot of people come here, then they leave, they move to like San Diego, like you did or whatever. And um, there's also not really that many good venues that would book us. And, you know, if we were, you know, Sublime or something, then yeah, but
Yeah, that's definitely the demographic of Riverside, man.
yeah,
It's either you're a reggae band or like some like new
or you got to be like
metal.
Flock of Seagulls, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You got to be like one of those
Like
like 80s like cover bands or something.
Journey.
Journey,
You gotta
yeah.
be a Journey or
Playing
something like that.
playing at a Casino Morongo or Pachanga or something.
Mm-hmm.
You guys
Yeah.
sell tickets for like $150 a pop. Like no one's gonna come and do that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I hope we at least do like an LA like one off or something. Would love to do that.
Oh man, I'd love to do
That'd be
Catch One
amazing.
again. I mean, that'd be so much fun. That was like one of the more recent venues that we played. That was really fun to do a show at, and I hope they're still open. I think they are, but you know, with the pandemic, that's the other thing too. I don't think people realize, but there's a lot of venues that are just like probably gone for good. You know.
Got it. All right, man. Well, I kind of got to bounce out, man. But you got like a next release that you're gonna be releasing here?
Yeah, May 10th, Stateside is coming out. So make sure to follow that on Spotify when it does come out. And Alex, thanks so much for your time. Good talking to you. Yeah, we'll be sharing the single for everyone that the remix that we just put out. And
Yeah, check out Pure.
check out Pure by Matt Black, the New Division
By
remix.
Matt Black, and check out. I'm not sure if you guys have heard Broken, but
Yes,
Matt
that's a
Black did a
great song
remix
too.
of Broken. So yeah, that's
By the
out
New
there as
Division.
well.
Yeah, New Division Broken.
Yep.
All
Cool, man.
right, man. Good talking to you guys. And